Okay, so get this. Tesla's aiming to be like the most valuable company in the world.
Wow.
Maybe even bigger than the next top 5 companies combined.
Really?
We're talking a whole new level of ambition here.
Yeah.
So let's break down their Q4 2024 earnings call and update deck.
Yeah.
You shared some great sources on this and
Yeah.
figure out what it all means.
It's certainly a bold vision,
Yeah.
and their Q4 performance gives us some clues about how they plan to get there. We're seeing record deliveries for both vehicles and energy storage,
Right.
but also some strategic decisions that are impacting revenue.
Right. Almost 2 million vehicles delivered annually is huge,
It is.
especially considering the economic uncertainty globally.
Yeah.
And they're crushing it in China, which is a super competitive EV market.
Absolutely.
But I was surprised to see revenue actually went down.
Yeah. That decrease is partly due to price cuts Tesla implemented to manage inventory levels.
Oh, I see.
They're clearly prioritizing growth over short-term profits, which is a gamble, but could pay off if they can capture enough market share.
It's a classic high-growth strategy.
Yeah.
And they're not shying away from new products either.
No.
The new and improved Model Y just launched, which is exciting.
Right.
But those factory changeovers to ramp up production will probably mean some temporary dips in output.
It's a balancing act for sure.
Yeah.
But here's a stat that really jumped out at me. The Model Y was the best-selling vehicle in the world in 2024. Not just electric, but any vehicle.
Wow.
That's a massive shift in the automotive landscape,
Totally.
and it signals a potential tipping point for EV adoption.
It makes you wonder how traditional automakers are reacting.
Oh, right.
This isn't just competition, it's a whole new paradigm.
Yeah.
But let's talk about Tesla's master plan, because things get even more interesting when we look at their long-term vision.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Elon Musk laid out some pretty bold claims in the earnings call,
Oh, yeah.
emphasizing that autonomy is the key to Tesla's future, even more important than everything they've done so far.
He's not known for being shy with predictions, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But what's the thinking behind this? Why is autonomy so crucial to their strategy?
Well, Musk believes that self-driving tech will increase vehicle utility fivefold, allowing cars to be used around the clock.
Oh, okay.
This ties directly into his vision of Tesla becoming a major player in the robotaxi market.
Right.
Essentially a fleet of self-driving Teslas constantly generating revenue.
Okay, I can see the potential there. But then there's Optimus, the humanoid robot,
Yeah.
playing piano, threading needles.
Yeah.
Those demos were impressive, but also kind of unnerving.
A little bit.
And Musk projects over $10 trillion in revenue from Optimus.
Yeah.
Is that even remotely realistic?
It's a mind-boggling figure, no doubt.
Yeah.
But if you consider the potential applications of a general-purpose robot that can perform a wide range of tasks, from manufacturing to healthcare to even domestic work,
Well,
it starts to become a little less unbelievable.
I guess it depends on how quickly they can scale production and make Optimus reliable enough to handle those tasks in real-world settings.
Exactly. They're aiming for 10,000 Optimus robots this year and plan to ramp up production exponentially.
Wow.
They're also going to use them in their own factories first,
Oh.
which makes sense.
Right.
It gives them a controlled environment to iron out any kinks before selling them to other companies,
Yeah.
which they're aiming to do in the second half of 2026.
And that projected cost under $20,000 at scale is a game changer.
Yeah.
It makes Optimus more accessible than most people probably realize.
Yeah.
But let's circle back to self-driving cars for a moment.
Yeah.
Unsupervised full self-driving launched in Austin last June, which seemed like a huge step.
Yeah.
But it's been a pretty cautious rollout, right?
Yes, and for good reason, Tesla is under intense scrutiny when it comes to autonomous driving.
Right.
They need to demonstrate that their system is significantly safer than human drivers to gain public trust and wider regulatory approval.
And how are they doing on that front?
Their safety data is actually quite impressive. According to their Q4 vehicle safety report, Teslas on autopilot are 8.5 times safer than the U.S. average.
That's good to hear. But is this just an Austin experiment, or are they planning to expand unsupervised FSD more broadly?
Musk believes most of the U.S. will have it by next year, and globally soon after,
Wow.
pending regulations.
Oh.
And get this, they're even talking about letting people add their own cars to the Tesla robotaxi network eventually.
Wow, that's a whole other level of disruption. Talk about turning your car into an asset.
Yeah.
But amidst all this futuristic tech, it's easy to forget about the real-world challenges Tesla faces.
Absolutely. They mentioned battery production constraints as a major bottleneck.
Right.
And convincing people to trust a self-driving car, let alone a robot butler, will take time.
Yeah.
Public perception is a huge factor.
And they need to make sure they don't overpromise and underdeliver,
Right.
especially with something as complex and potentially risky as full self-driving.
Right. They're also walking a tightrope financially, balancing the need to make their cars more affordable.
With the massive investments required for long-term bets like autonomy and robotics.
Plus, they're pushing for more skilled Americans in manufacturing to support these ambitious goals. It seems like they're constantly pushing the boundaries of what's possible,
Yeah.
but also bumping up against the limitations of our current infrastructure and workforce.
Indeed. And then there's their solar roof and energy storage business, which often gets overshadowed by the flashier stuff,
Right.
but is quietly becoming a significant part of their portfolio.
So much to unpack. Before we dive into listener questions, maybe we should pause and summarize the key points from this earnings call so far.
That's a great idea.
Mhm.
What are the biggest takeaways that stand out to you?
Well, I think the main thing is that
Yeah.
Tesla is,
Right.
they're really going all in on this vision of a future where AI is everywhere,
Totally.
not just in their cars,
Right.
but also in our homes, in our workplaces.
Yeah.
It's a bold bet,
It is.
and it remains to be seen whether they can pull it off.
But one thing's for sure, it's going to be a wild ride.
Definitely.
So buckle up, everybody,
Yeah,
because the future is coming, whether we're ready for it or not,
I think so.
and Tesla's leading the charge.
Absolutely. Welcome back to our deep dive into Tesla's Q4 2024 performance. You've heard the highlights, the bold predictions, and the potential challenges they face. Now it's time to shift gears and address some of the excellent questions we've received from you, our listeners.
You folks always bring the heat with your questions. We've got a lot to cover, from the nitty-gritty of Tesla's tech to the wider implications of their strategy. So let's jump right in. The first question comes from Sarah in Seattle. She asks, Tesla makes a lot of noise about being the best at AI, but are they really that far ahead? What about companies like Google or Apple?
It's a great question, and one that Elon Musk addressed directly in the earnings call. He claimed that no other company comes close to Tesla when it comes to real-world AI. He even joked that he'd need a very big telescope to see the competition.
Classic Elon. But is there any truth to that statement?
Yeah.
How does Tesla's approach to AI differ from its competitors?
Well, Tesla has a huge advantage in terms of data. Their fleet of millions of vehicles is constantly collecting real-world driving data. We're talking billions of miles that they use to train their AI systems. That kind of data is invaluable for developing autonomous driving capabilities.
Right. They're all about that vision-only approach, relying on cameras and neural networks instead of LiDAR and radar like some of their competitors. And they built this massive supercomputer called Cortex to process all that data. 50,000 GPUs, can you imagine?
It's a serious commitment to AI, no doubt. But to be fair to companies like Google and Apple, they're also making significant investments in AI, although their focus is a bit different. Google's Waymo, for example, is a leader in autonomous driving, and Apple is rumored to be working on its own self-driving car project.
So it's not just about who's better at AI, but also about how they're applying it and what specific problems they're trying to solve. Okay, our next question comes from David in Denver, and it gets into some of the practical challenges Tesla faces. He asks, Elon mentioned upgrading the Hardware 3 computer in older Teslas for full self-driving. How is that going to work, and who's going to pay for it?
That's a sharp question, and it highlights the complexities of rolling out new technology on such a massive scale. Upgrading millions of vehicles with new hardware is a logistical nightmare, not to mention the cost.
And it raises some ethical questions too,
Yeah.
right? People bought those cars with the promise of full self-driving, and now they might have to pay for a costly upgrade to actually get that functionality.
It's a potential PR headache for Tesla, and it underscores the need for clear communication and transparency around their technology roadmap. They need to manage customer expectations carefully, especially as the technology continues to evolve.
Okay, let's shift gears to a question about robots. Maria in Miami asks, what are the downsides of a world with millions of humanoid robots? It sounds cool, but are there risks we should be thinking about?
It's a crucial question, and it goes beyond just robots. We're talking about the broader impact of AI and automation on society. The potential benefits are huge. Increased efficiency, productivity, maybe even a higher quality of life for some. But there are real concerns about job displacement, economic inequality, and even the potential for these technologies to be misused.
It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of new gadgets and futuristic possibilities, but we also need to be thinking critically about the potential consequences, both intended and unintended.
Exactly. And we need to be having these conversations now while these technologies are still being developed so we can shape their trajectory in a way that benefits all of humanity. It's not just about the technology itself, it's about how we choose to use it.
Well said. Okay, let's move on to a question from John in Jacksonville, who's curious about Tesla's energy storage business. He asks, they keep talking about record deployments, but is it really making a difference in the global energy landscape?
Tesla's energy business often gets overshadowed by the electric cars and robots, but it's quietly becoming a major player in the renewable energy sector. They're selling both residential energy storage solutions like the Powerwall and utility scale systems called Megapack, and both are seeing massive growth.
They just opened a new mega factory in Shanghai to ramp up production, right? That seems like a big deal.
It is. They're trying to position themselves as a key player in the transition to a sustainable energy future, and energy storage is a critical part of that equation.
It makes sense.
Well,
As we rely more on solar and wind power, we need efficient ways to store that energy
yeah.
and make it available when we need it. It's like having a giant battery backup for the entire grid.
Exactly. And Tesla is betting that their expertise in battery technology and manufacturing will give them a competitive edge in this growing market.
Okay, let's wrap up this Q&A with a final question from Lisa in Los Angeles. She asks, what are the most significant ways Tesla is shaping the future beyond just electric cars and robots?
It's a great question, and it invites us to think about the ripple effects of their actions. They're not just making products, they're shifting entire industries and challenging conventional thinking.
They're kind of like a catalyst for change, right? They're
Yeah,
pushing the boundaries of what's possible and forcing everyone else to catch up.
precisely. Their impact extends beyond their own products. Their innovations in battery technology, manufacturing processes, and software development are influencing other industries and inspiring a new generation of entrepreneurs and engineers.
They've also sparked a lot of debate about the role of technology in society, the future of work, and the ethical implications of AI. Whether you love them or hate them, you can't deny that they're making us think differently about the world.
Absolutely. And that's a good thing. We need companies like Tesla to challenge the status quo and push us towards a more sustainable and innovative future.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground in this Q&A session. We've explored your insightful questions about Tesla's technology, their strategic moves, and their broader impact on the world. But our deep dive isn't over yet. Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into Tesla's Q4 2024 performance. We've analyzed the numbers, we've tackled your questions, and now it's time to step back and look at the big picture.
It's clear that Tesla's story is about much more than just selling cars or building robots. It's a glimpse into the broader technological and societal shifts that are happening all around us.
So let's zoom out for a moment. What are the major trends that Tesla's performance is highlighting?
One of the most obvious is the accelerating shift towards electric vehicles. Tesla's record deliveries, despite the economic headwinds, show that EVs are no longer just for early adopters. They're going mainstream, driven by factors like falling battery costs, government incentives, and a growing awareness of the environmental benefits.
And Tesla is at the forefront of that transition, pushing the boundaries of battery technology range and performance. They're also building out a global charging network, which is a huge factor in making EVs more practical for everyday use.
Exactly. But it's not just about cars. We're seeing electrification across all forms of transportation, from buses and trucks to even ships and airplanes. Tesla's innovations in battery technology and electric powertrains are having a ripple effect throughout these industries.
And then there's the even bigger force at play here, artificial intelligence. Tesla's all-in bet on AI, both for their cars and for robots, shows just how rapidly this technology is advancing in its potential to reshape our world.
AI is no longer a futuristic concept. It's becoming integrated into our daily lives. From the algorithms that curate our social media feeds to the voice assistants in our homes, AI is already here, and Tesla is pushing the boundaries of real-world AI applications, particularly in autonomous systems.
It's exciting, but also a little bit daunting, right? The idea of cars and robots making decisions without human input raises ethical and practical questions that we need to address as a society.
Absolutely. We need to be having open and honest conversations about safety liability, the potential impact on employment, and even the very nature of intelligence. What does it mean for a machine to think? What are the limits of AI? These are questions that philosophers and scientists have been grappling with for decades, and they're becoming more urgent as AI enters the mainstream.
And Tesla is right in the middle of this debate, forcing us to confront these questions head-on. Whether you're a tech enthusiast or a skeptic, you can't ignore the impact they're having on the AI landscape.
Indeed. And it's crucial to remember that technology is never neutral. It's shaped by the values and priorities of the people who create and use it. So as we enter this new era of AI-powered transportation and robotics, we need to be having thoughtful discussions about the kind of future we want to build.
It's not just about the technology itself, it's about the choices we make and how we develop and deploy it. And that's where you, our listeners, come in. We need your voices, your perspectives, your critical thinking skills to help shape this conversation and guide us toward a future that benefits everyone.
What insights have you gained from this deep dive? What questions are still on your mind? What are your hopes and fears about the future of AI and transportation?
We encourage you to share your thoughts, whether it's in the comments on social media or in conversations with your friends and family. This is a dialogue that needs to happen on a global scale, and everyone has a role to play.
Remember, the future is not something that just happens to us. It's something we create collectively through our choices and actions.
And as Tesla's story shows us, innovation can be a powerful force for change. It can push the boundaries of what's possible and challenge us to rethink the world around us.
But it's up to all of us to ensure that this change leads to a positive, sustainable, and equitable future.
So keep thinking critically, keep asking questions, and keep engaging in the conversation. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Tesla's Q4 2024 performance.
Until next time, stay curious.